Hey, friends. Welcome to the Divorce Clarity Studio on WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio, Podcasts, and TV. I'm your host, Lisa Lisser, founder of LZL Coaching, a boutique coaching firm focused on divorce, relationships, and life transitions. Like many of you, my life has been shaped by many chapters, from my early career as an attorney to a nonprofit leader and community builder, to a Jewish educator and spiritual counselor, to today as a divorce coach. And of course, for the last 10 plus years as a divorced mom of 3 now grown kids. I can look back and see how each chapter quietly shaped the way I accompany people through life's most profound transitions. I created the Divorce Clarity Studio because I believe divorce is about so much more than the legal process. It's about identity and relationships, parenting and finances, healing, and discovering who you are. So whether you're considering divorce, in the middle of the process, or learning to co-parent, or even rebuilding your life afterward, my hope is simple, that you'll leave each conversation feeling a little less alone, a little more grounded, and a lot more confident in taking your next clarity-informed step. Now, today's show is going to be fun. We are talking about solo travel, and our title is Solo Travel, The Journey That Changes You. It's all about the power of traveling on your own, something many of us are afraid to do, especially after divorce. We may be so used to being part of a couple that the idea of traveling alone just feels too big. Today's guest, Ashley Griffin, is here to open our eyes to what's possible and to share the power of solo travel. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad to have you here. So I'm going to give a little bio so everyone knows who you are. So Ashley Griffin, she is the founder of Doing Life My Way and JMaxineEventsAndTravels. After years of burnout, unexpected life challenges, and feeling like she was living a life that no longer fit, Ashley booked her first solo trip at age 42. And it completely transformed the way she saw herself and her future. Now, she's a full-time digital nomad, and she helps women 40 and over build confidence and self-trust through transformative solo travel. She offers solo travel mentorship, digital travel guides, and an online community that empowers women to stop waiting for the right time. Embrace your next chapter and create a life that feels authentically your own. Ashley believes that solo travel isn't just about seeing the world, it's about discovering what's possible for you. So, again, welcome, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's sums it up.
That sums it up.
Sums
So,
it up.
so there's a couple of things here in your bio that I just want to flesh out a little. You call yourself a full-time digital nomad. Tell us, what is that?
I get this question a lot. So you know the term nomad, I'm sure, where you basically don't really have a home and you kind of bounce around to different locations. But digital in front of that is basically I work remotely. That's that simple. I work remotely and different areas, different locations at a time. So for me, as a digital nomad, I'm a business. So I can travel and work remotely and work in a cafe, work at the house, work at anywhere, really.
So what you're saying is like any of us, including me, whose business is primarily virtual, could be a digital nomad and conduct business while you are exploring not just the world, but also yourself.
Absolutely. That is exactly right.
Great. So okay. So that's an invitation, I think, for us all to sort of just spread our minds out a lot. I mean, I have to be honest, I have a lot of friends with kids in their 20s, and since COVID, they've been working and traveling all over the world because they can be virtual. And so the idea is I can't leave because of work, is not as concrete as it once was.
Absolutely. I think COVID shifted that a lot. And you see a little bit more of people living remotely and living as a nomad, a digital nomad. That I didn't know that term until a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
It
mean,
might not have been a term, so.
it might not have been a term, but exactly. I think that industry is definitely growing. And yeah, I think COVID had a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah. So, okay, let's get to it. I start all my interviews with the same question. So, what's your story? Like you say, you didn't start traveling solo till your 40s. What gave you the courage to finally book that first trip?
Well, so yes, I've traveled a little bit like solo for like work or going to visit friends in the US, right? And I've taken some little like long weekend trips by myself prior to 42. But I never traveled abroad by myself, only like, maybe group trips or friend trips and things like that. So 2024 was a really, really bad year for me. A little traumatic, a lot of loss, a lot of grief. In April, I had to put my dog down, Dallas, and he was like my whole heart. I don't have any kids. I don't have, I'm not married. So he was my heart. So my heart was just broken. So as soon as I thought I was coming up for air from grieving and that loss, I was in an apartment fire. My home got completely burnt to the ground.
Oh my
Again,
God.
lost everything. So then there I am again, a lot of loss, a lot of grief. And I barely remember 2024. On top of that, I was also burnout. I had, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I had 4 jobs. I had a full-time job. I had my freelance job. I was working on my travel agent business. I had, working, and I was on boards and volunteering and all these things. And so I don't really remember 2024. So, and after kind of, have responsibilities, right? Even going through all of that, I still had some things to take care of. So in October, I decided, you know what? I've been wanting to travel. This is my time. I don't have anything timey here. I don't have a home. I wasn't ready to rebuild yet. Like, I just remember, like, I was so lucky to have moms, my mom and family and support. And they wanted to help me rebuild and like, hey, here's some furniture and here's this. What do you want to do with it? And I just remember like, can we just wait for a second? Like, I just remember I wasn't ready to rebuild yet. Like, I knew something was like, I needed a life reset.
Yeah.
And travel. It just something called me to travel, and I did. I quit all my jobs and everything, and I just booked that trip to book 3 weeks, one in Mexico and then one and 2 in Costa Rica. And I was like, okay, well, let's just do this. I mean, I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I had to just get away and just heal and breathe and just kind of step away from my circles. And I just needed to like step away from it and just breathe and reset. So that was kind of the reason I took that leap, was just to heal and breathe, reset.
So what happened during that first trip that was transformative for you? Like it shifted your whole perspective, because it seems like you haven't stopped traveling since. So
yeah. So I'm a little, it's a little different than a lot of people, right? They go on a solo trip, they don't stay out there, but mine's a little different. Yeah, I was planning on maybe like a 3-month kind of sabbatical, if you will, just go see a little bit of the world. And then that 3 months turned into 6 months because I was meeting people and I was feeling alive. I finally felt like I was me. And this like whole version of me just like kind of came out that I didn't realize that maybe I was pushing or hiding or something. Because I think that you getting out of your comfort zone or, your own circles, your own routine, when you get out of that, you kind of start opening up and like start hearing your own voice and like, wait, do I like this? Do I like that? So I really started after, healing and kind of breathing. I'm like, wow, I started learning more about me and myself and what I liked, what I didn't like, and so after the 6 months, I went back home. I wasn't ready to go home. I was like, I like who I am out here. I like this life. I like meeting new people and seeing new cultures and da 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 da. So I went home, sold my car, what was left in my storage, and decided to do this full time. So,
Wow. So that's brave. That's brave,
yeah.
selling everything and deciding to do it full time. What does that look like? Like, so deciding to do it full time, like, how do you um, make a living, right? When you decide to do that full time, how do have food to eat? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So, you create a budget. So I have a couple of things I do remotely. I do some admin work here. I book some traveling there. I help with retreats over here. So then I started doing coaching and mentoring for women to take the sleep into traveling, because I get all the time questions like that, like, oh, you're so brave, Ashley. Like, I want to do it too. And so I guide them and teach them how to do that. And this is something I just launched, about 3-4 months ago, and just helping these women take the leap into traveling, because it really is transformative, and to help them, to like reset, find themselves again, love themselves again. And so that's another way that, make a little bit of money here. But so just work remotely. I kind of pop around wherever feels good. Once you're in the travel world, you start meeting other travelers, you start meeting other nomads, and you might go with somebody, or you hear that this has good Wi-Fi and a great community of nomads in this one area. So you go check out that one. So it starts becoming its own world in itself, basically. Yeah.
So you find community.
I find community. It's very important.
Yeah. So that's really important, because a lot of people worry that they would isolate themselves, right? Like, if their world has been very one track and they know the people they know, they don't necessarily like talking to strangers. They're not that open. So, how do you encourage women like that to take the leap and to recognize that maybe your shyness or your quietness or your insularness is something that you developed in the world you live in, and could be something you shed in a new space?
Yeah, no, exactly that. So there are different people, right? Some are the introverts that don't really go out and social because they don't really need it, or they don't have to have all these friends and all this social life. They're a little bit more to themselves, and they're okay with that. There's also the, more extroverts, where they like to be social and like be involved in everything, and they have to meet somebody. So when you do travel, you don't have to necessarily, it's the whole alone versus lonely thing, so when you're traveling, or even at home, right? You're not always lonely. You could be alone, but not lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And for traveling, for example, and you are a little shyer, and I highly suggest you kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit in your hometown before you take the leap to try to push yourself. But also at the same time, when you don't really know anybody that's not in your hometown, it's a little less scary to kind of put yourself out there, because who cares if you look stupid? Because you're never going to see that person again.
Yeah.
It's a little less judgment on yourself, because you're like, who cares if I look like a fool or look silly, or, I'm not going to ever see that person again.
A lot of people don't like going to a restaurant to eat alone.
Yeah.
Right? That's a hard thing. But, it does make sense that when you're in your home environment, you don't want people to know that you have no one to eat with, right? And people going through divorce often feel like they're so alone, and they don't want people to know that they're not with someone or together. But when you're traveling, you can put on a different persona.
100%. You can definitely put on a different persona. You meet the most amazing people. I like sitting at the bar area, because you can talk to the bartender. You can talk to the person next to them, because usually people that are eating by themselves usually go to the bar, or want to be a little bit more social. And so they're open to saying, you just say hi, where are you from? And maybe they don't speak English, and that's okay. It depends on where you go, obviously. Right. but yeah, and then that opens up a conversation. And so and also, always recommend joining Facebook groups. There's a ton of Facebook groups in different countries, cities, that's like meetup or meetups in the US. There's a lot of meetup groups. So joining something like that and just saying like, hey, like if it's a Facebook group, chiming in and just saying like, hey, is anything going on, like social meetups, and you can meet people that way. Yeah, but I highly recommend doing that at home first, just to kind of get your bearings. And going to eat alone by yourself is a fear that I hear from a lot of women. They just don't want to be alone like that. They feel silly or embarrassed. But you could go to the town over. Go to the town over. Drive a little, like 30 minutes over to the people that don't know you, and go bring a journal and just write out your feelings. I highly recommend bringing a journal and write out your feelings. Right? Are you embarrassed? Are you nervous? Or you're surprisingly like, oh, this is cool. I got this,
Yeah.
And you find out when you're done with it, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then you want to do it again.
Right. Oh, I love that, because now you're solo traveling, but in the next town over. So it's
in the next town over. Exactly. Right? You could do it. Start small. Definitely start small. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're about halfway through. So we're going to take a quick 30-second break, and we will be right back after a word from our sponsor. And we're back with Ashley Griffin. We're dancing backstage. So, Ashley, you talked just a moment ago about solo travel in the neighborhood next door. But what can be an obstacle for someone who maybe has already done that, who feels fine traveling on their own in local cities, but is afraid to like leap over the pond, as it were, and go to Europe or go to an island or go to Mexico? Like, what is the biggest obstacle, and like how can they rebuild their confidence by like walking right into that fear?
I find that a lot of people that have done a little bit of solo traveling, they're not as nervous as somebody that hasn't. But there are obviously the fears, and most of the fears are surrounded by, let's say, like you going to Europe, for example, and it's the safety. It's like the safety concerns, and also logistics fears, and simply the fear of the unknown, because they've never done it before. Does it, the language, to the currency, is it safe? Do I need to get on a train? How do I get from the airport to my, so it's a lot of logistics and safety fears. And it's really the fear of the unknown. And so that's kind of where I come in, is basically help guide them through that. What is kind of, scaring you to taking that leap, and let's walk through that. Let's make it to where you do feel confident. I think it's just more of the confidence building. So getting out of your comfort zone is huge. So again, starting at home, starting in the neighborhood, away from you, go to that event, go to that, Pilates class, that you keep saying you want to go to, or, doing something that's out of your comfort zone a little bit at home. Kind of, you build this core in you of like confidence, and this, like self-intuition, self-trust first. And then when you take that leap into traveling, the scariest and the hardest part is actually booking and committing, and then getting actually on that flight or that plane or that car. That the hardest part is like leaping, is the hardest part, is booking it and committing, and then actually getting on that flight or car. So after that, you're in it, and you figure it out, and you really do figure it out. And that's where it all happens is in the
That's where it
middle
all
of.
happens. Okay, so, what do you think is the biggest misconception that women over 40 have about solo travel? And what would you say to someone who's convinced they could never do it?
Yeah. Oh, I feel like there's several things, but one of the biggest things I think for especially people, my age, 40 plus, right? We think for some reason that we had to be 20 and we had to have a backpack and we have to go to Europe for like 2 months and we have to stay in these hostels and we have to go and do this whole thing and we have to. That's how we solo travel. We have to have a backpack and we have to be 20 and we have to go in Europe, but that's not the case. You can simply just start small again, like a couple hour drive from your house. Go stay at a cabin that's, a couple hour drive from your house to like a flight to like New York City, and stay for a long weekend. Like start in the US, or to your home country first. You speak English, you don't have to do some kind of grand, adventurous 2 week see 10 countries type solo travel. You can literally do a long weekend somewhere, take baby steps,
Yeah.
And I think that's where women, for like, midlife think that they can't go solo traveling. They're too old. And that just makes me so, I don't believe that at 100%. And so, I mean, we could do anything,
And they can
and
do anything at any time. That's
anything
the
at
thing.
any time. Yes. That, there's so, you could start over at any age
Yeah.
and do anything at any age.
So, as we're talking, I am having these thoughts of Elizabeth Gilbert and the book Eat, Pray, Love, where she had this, a life quake where she had a terrible divorce and she needed to get out, and she planned 3 different 3-month journeys to satisfy her desire to learn Italian and eat, and then get into her head and learn some yoga and in India, and then, Thailand, just a totally other place. And I haven't read the book in like 20 or 25 years, but it made a big impression on me because everywhere she went, she met people and she talked about meeting people. And part of the fear I think people have is this idea that I'll be so alone that I'll feel isolated and I don't know if I want to talk to people. Like there's a whole other piece of it. But it sounds like that's your journey too. Like you go places and you'll sit at the bar and you'll meet people. So what was it like the first time you did it?
I've met people pretty quickly because I think I wanted to. Because I feel like I am a friendly person. I like talking to people and meeting new people. So that's kind of my personality. There were some times, not gonna lie, that I felt a little lonely because it was around Thanksgiving and Christmas time. I didn't go back home. I was in Colombia, where people really didn't even speak English a lot. So you'll find these countries that don't really speak a lot of English. You can still communicate because thank you Google Translate.
Yeah.
But I started feeling really lonely because I didn't find the community. And then I started finding the Facebook groups. The Facebook groups is really kind of where you can find that community, meetups, social thing. So you find like these expat nomad groups, tourist groups, things like that. And you, sometimes I would simply like reach out to like, maybe that's a girl that's like, oh, from America. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'll DM her and I'm like, hey, let's go meet up for a coffee, and everybody, when you are traveling like that, a lot of travelers are in the same boat. So you find another traveler and then you really, really hit it off because you're in the same place, same time. You're having, can't really, obviously you want to find somebody that maybe speaks English.
Yeah.
But it can happen even in the US, right? There's Facebook groups again, and the meetups is where I find.
But that's really resourceful, and I always tell my clients that they have more resources than they might think they have.
Mhm.
Like they have, like, if you're listening, now, okay, Facebook groups. You go on Facebook groups all the time for different things that you might need. Like my kids are all about, Facebook Marketplace, right? So even though Facebook is for my generation and not their generation, Facebook does have communities that you can find.
Yeah.
And if you start being resourceful by going back to what you know, like I did this in America, can I do it here?
Mhm.
Maybe I can. And doing the research and legwork is really what makes you feel empowered.
Absolutely. Because, yeah, you don't want to take a trip without doing some research. You feel way more confident when you do the research. And, Facebook, everybody kind of says like, oh, Facebook is dying and Facebook groups are dying. I'm like, that's not true. Especially Facebook groups. That's my like lifeline to finding people. So, and I find that and other travelers say the same thing. So, finding community through Facebook groups is all over the world.
Yeah. And
So
that's amazing.
yeah, it's a good
That's
tool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for someone who's listening and feels stuck, what's like one small step they can take to start creating that new life that feels like their own? And even if they're not ready to book a flight and go on that first trip, like we talked about going to the town next door, but
Yeah.
what if it's really like I'm so in my uncomfortable comfort zone that I don't know how to get out? Like, what can they do?
Yeah, I think it goes back to just getting out of your comfort zone, which means going to the cafe, set a timer 30 seconds. I'm going to go into this cafe, order a coffee, sit with your journal. Don't pull your phone out. Sit with it. Be present. Even if you want to go to the town over, like to help with that type of stuff. But then gradually go into the restaurant for an hour and eat a whole full meal. Go sit at the bar, talk to somebody else. Go to the Pilates class you keep wanting to go to. Like getting out of your comfort zone and then you start building this like core confidence in yourself. Like, oh, I could do that. I just did that. Like, so go to that event, that networking event that you've been saying, go say hi to somebody. Just pushing yourself just a little bit at a time to kind of build this self-trust and self-confidence. Then my next step would be to book your trip, make a date, book it. But yeah, I mean, I think again, I've said this, that, the scariest part is booking the trip and taking the leave. And
Yeah,
then once you did that part, it's easy.
it's easy.
But the exciting part is when you come back home from those trips is you're going to feel more capable of anything. You are going to feel your self-confidence is going to explode. You're going to actually like get, what am I trying to say? Like you'll see like life's possibilities because you're going to be like, look, I did that and I did this and I did that. And then you kind of come home and you're like, oh my God, if I did that, this is easy. So you start that business or you apply for that job or maybe you start your own Pilates class because you have this now confidence of this capability that you found in yourself while you traveled. And it's also like, it's a healing tool, it's healing. It's building that self-confidence that you didn't know you're missing. It's a life reset.
Yeah.
Yeah, traveling is a lot more than just traveling and vacation. It's
Yeah. I mean,
rediscovering yourself,
I actually think that traveling and vacation don't have to be in the same sentence, right? Like travel is a journey and it's a visit. Like you and I had talked a while back, and I mentioned that I travel back and forth to Israel very frequently. And I don't really think of it as a vacation. I think of it as a visit. And I'm actually going back, like I'd say 4 years ago. There was like a family trip, but we were all in different families, and I was the single. And I had one sister who wanted to put me in like an extra room in her Airbnb, and then I would be hooked onto her to do all of her things. And the other sister was on a scheduled tour, and that's not what I wanted to do. So I said, you know what? I'm going to just book a hotel alone in the city that you're not actually going to be in first. And
Mhm.
that's what I did. And I don't know if I hurt any feelings, but I think that ultimately I chose the path that was right for me.
Mhm.
And I had the most incredible time, like figuring out along the way, who was I going to see? Who did I know? Like, what group could I connect back with? And um, it was really empowering for me. And then everybody else got COVID except for me. So I was like, and so there was that benefit, but that's just an aside. But it was really about like knowing that I could do this. And I didn't really think of it that way as like, because it was like something was holding me back and then something was pulling me toward. And I think we all work in this in life. Like we have things that pull us and things that push us. And sometimes we need to like listen to where we're getting pulled, listening to what's calling us. So, what do you think your key takeaway is about solo travel?
Um, I love that you did that, by the way. I'm so glad that like can I ask you like what you learned? What do you think that you learned from that? What was your key takeaway from
Well,
that?
my key takeaway was that I could do, oh, and I traveled on the train by myself because that was a big thing too. Like every time
Yeah.
I had been there before, someone else was taking care of my transportation
Mhm.
and I did it myself. And I might not have done it the smartest way. I always walked to the train. I never took I was afraid to like take an Uber. I didn't know how to start the app. Like, so, and sometimes I got off at a train station that wasn't necessarily the right neighborhood. And yet I managed to get through it,
Yeah.
right? I managed to get through it and I was okay.
Yeah.
So what I learned was that, you know, I can do this. And so since then, in the last 4 years, I've been going back and forth by myself all the time. And
Mhm.
I don't think twice about it.
Yeah.
Um, so, but now that place has become familiar to me. So it's like home. So I need to like break out and go
Mhm.
somewhere new.
Yeah. But so you already kind of like so but don't you feel like you're building that muscle, if you will? Like that like core, like, okay, I did this and I did that. Like you keep stepping up these little like baby steps, right? So now you know, hey, I can trust myself to do that because I figured out that train. So I
Yeah.
know next place I go, I can figure out whatever is
Yeah.
coming my way. Yeah. So I think
I,
that's a huge takeaway.
it was a
Yeah.
huge takeaway because
Yeah.
also I think I relied on the idea that when I was traveling, someone else was going to take care of me. And
Mhm.
if I was traveling with a group, then the group would take care of me. Even if I was like leading the trip, it was like we had a tour director and we had this and we had that. But when it was just me, and also things fell into place. Like
Mhm.
I checked into the hotel for a, you know, in a double room and they said, "Oh, well, you're here for 5 days. So we'll just upgrade you." And I wound up getting a suite with a terrace and a hot tub right outside that. And I was like entertaining my friends in my, you know, on my
Yeah.
deck. It was like such a exciting, you know, shift.
Yeah, I love that. See,
Yeah.
so good.
In. So I know we
Yeah.
were connected. So this is such a great conversation, and I would love for us to stay in touch. And how can my audience find you?
Yeah, so I have two things. So my JMaxine events, it's more of my retreat planning, and I'm eventually going to have some girl, trips coming up in 2027. But you can really follow along with me on doing life my way 444 on Instagram. It's really where I have my journey going on and my things and my inspiration. So that's follow along on my Instagram.
Well, that's amazing, and I definitely will, and I think I'm already following you. Um, but I really just want to say that this is an inspiration, and I am talking to you about taking that next step outside my comfort zone. And walking cities for me is like the most amazing thing because you see things that you don't expect.
Mm,
And
yes.
I remember having a map. Like now we have GPS, but I remember in the days when I like had to look on a map and see where everything was. And
Yeah.
um, it helps you know where you are and who you are.
Mm,
So,
yes.
so thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
You're
much.
so welcome.
Uh,
Yeah. This was so much fun. So thank you for having me on here and talking solo travel because I love talking travel. Great.
Absolutely. And I'm sure I will have you back maybe after I take a trip, maybe after you take another trip. And,
Yeah.
um, for everyone out there, thank you so much for listening to the Divorce Clarity Studio. You can find me at Lisa at lzlcoaching.com. And that's my website, lzlcoaching.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at Divorce Coach Lisa. Remember, if you've liked what you heard, please like and follow us. And if someone you know could benefit from this episode, share it. Share it because that's building community. Remember, you're not alone and you can walk with a guide on the side. See you next time.